And we are going live. Yeah.
What's that, Bobby?
Oh, you were not ready with your headphones.
That's okay.
3, 2, 1. Hey, boys, girls, germs, awesome people who do not have root canals, because it hurts a lot when you get a root canal. I know that now a lot. I should know that already. I've got plenty of root canals.
I feel like by now you should have a good idea of what dental and tooth pain feels like.
I know, but I've never had a root canal and then come and done a show like 2 seconds later. That's where the difference is.
I can see that mistakes were made, but it was necessary. You needed it.
So I warned everybody tonight that I just got a root canal like 2 seconds ago and need to, work on this a little bit. You are turning up my headphones for some reason, which is hurting me.
Yeah, because I don't hear you in my headphones.
So your headphones just might be janked up.
That's fine.
We'll live. Anyway, we are back. There's going to be an awesome episode today. And what are we going to talk about?
So today we're going to talk about Army of the Dead, the new Zack Snyder movie that just dropped on Netflix. A 2.5-hour epic.
Opus
Epic. I've heard it both ways. There is Adventure Time, the episode that should have been the season finale, came up third, and that is Adventure Time Together again. We've definitely got some thoughts and feelings on that one. We've also got 2 album reviews to do. We've got the new Weezer, Van Weezer, and we've got the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, When God Was Great, to chat about going head-to-head tonight on My Thai Happy Hour. And finally, MODOK.
MODOK. Why MODOK exists, I have no idea. But
well, MODOK is a new stop animation show from the people who brought you Robot Chicken, and it is on Hulu for your eyeballs to enjoy.
Anyway, I am psyched. I'm psyched for the cocktail they're going to give us in a few minutes. I'm going to apologize to everyone in advance that I am on a lot of codeine right now.
And I have allergies.
And I have a lot of pain. And I will hopefully get through this without messing anything up really badly like last week where I forgot the entire plot point of a movie because I had the pain last week. I was in the pain.
You did, and I knew you were in pain because you completely, and I know you need to watch things sometimes, and this is not a knock on George in any way, but he said this on the show before, you need to watch things a few times to really gain
What's
it.
ADD?
It's ADD. But yo, you totally forgot the entire plot of the movie.
So, and I'm sitting here, and I'm trying to watch our YouTube feed so I can read the comments, and Gabe decided to pick the next video recommended, which is an unboxing of Transformers Rescue Bots. So I'm not even able to watch our YouTube feed right now, the way it works. But
he's the boss.
Give me a cocktail.
So tonight we're going to go with the classic. We talked about this in an earlier episode this month. It was actually the first episode back. We're back, everybody. How wonderful is this? It's still new to me, and I still love it. I wonder if I'll run out of cocktails because we are no signs of stopping here at My Thai Happy Hour. We're going to do hundreds upon hundreds of episodes. So I'm taking it back to a gold classic for Zack Snyder's Zombie of the Dead. We're going to do a zombie. And so the zombie is a classic cocktail. Really easy to make. You just need a lot of booze for it. It is an ounce of apricot brandy, an ounce of light rum, an ounce of dark or Jamaican rum. I recommend using Myers, an ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice because we always squeeze it fresh, 2 dashes of grenadine, a little orange juice to give it a little toppy top, and an ounce of Bacardi 151. You're going to mix everything together in a cocktail shaker. You're going to shake that sumbitch up. You're going to add the lime juice and the grenadine afterwards. Shake it again. And you're going to pour it into a highball glass filled with cracked ice, preferably. Top it off with that OJ and leave enough room to float the 151 on top. Light that sumbitch on fire if you are able to. Safety first, of course. And then you garnish with a cherry and an orange slice. The classic zombie.
I love a zombie. I've been trying to make one for a very long time. I'm still not there yet. I still got to figure out how to make that weird cinnamon mixture. And, we're working on it. We're working on it. We are now live on the chat, so I can actually view what's going on. I thank you for all our viewers for tuning in and for engaging with us. We appreciate you. This week, Army of the Dead dropped on Netflix. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. Dave Bautista vehicle, Zack Snyder's brand new zombie movie, first one since 2004's Dawn of the Dead.
The remake, yeah.
I couldn't wait for this. This is not Dawn of the Dead. I just want to get this straight out to everybody who's wondering. This is not, what's definitely not a sequel to Dawn of the Dead, but it's not even in the
it's not the same universe.
It's not the same. No, because they're saying it might be a prequel now.
What?
Yeah, that leads into what happens in Dawn of the Dead. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing it's a prequel and there's gonna be more to come. But I just want to let you know, like, the other one was written by James Gunn and had a different feel. This movie is fantastic. We loved it. We're gonna go into that now, but it is a different movie than Dawn of the Dead. What were your thoughts on Army of the Dead?
So, you know, if you've been listening to the show for a long time, my thoughts on most Zack Snyder movies. I'm not a fan. However, you know, I did love the original Dawn of the Dead, and coming off of what I thought was great, the updated version of the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, I was like, man, I don't know. It's going to be a dark movie. And I saw the trailers for Army of the Dead, and I was really hoping it was going to be good. And I'm here to tell you all, it was fucking great. It was great. It was great, and I enjoyed it from start to finish. I got like a little thing to nitpick at the end, but for the most part, I think it's an excellent zombie movie that's also kind of a war movie and also kind of a heist movie. Now, normally, when you have three different, very different styles of movie, now granted, war movie, zombie movie can get kind of close in the Inspirado area. However, a heist movie is something very specific and something very different. And now he somehow manages to seamlessly tie the three of them together in one very cohesive story from start to finish. And it's dark when the lights are out, but for the most part, it's a very bright movie, which is very unlike
it. It takes place in the daylight, which is great. I always say that you can tell good CG if you do in the daylight, because, you know, usually use the dark to cover things up. What I liked is that, first of all, I do believe this is a heist movie first and foremost. I believe the zombies are almost like accents to, like, they're the backdrop to a heist. And that's really what it is. I don't get the army thing. Other than that, they're kind of army people. Like, I didn't get the army. I think this should have been called Kingdom of the Dead, largely because of the twist on the zombies. And this isn't really spoiling anything, but in this one, they do change up a bit what the zombie thing is. You are killing my headphones. Please don't do that.
Oh, I thought you were I thought I was number one.
No, you are number two.
Oh.
And you're clearly not plugged in, so something's wrong. We'll deal with it later.
No, it's fine. I'm plugged in now.
I know.
You.
You turned me down. These are noise canceling, so when you like turn it off, I actually can't hear you at all.
That's weird.
It's weird.
Gotta love science. Well, this is a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. For those listening at home who might not know anything about it, the zombie outbreak in Vegas, mercenaries go in to heist $200 million from a vault that's sitting in the center of Las Vegas that has been overtaken by zombies and quarantined off on all sides. They're going in there before a nuke gets dropped to kill all the zombies.
Yep, which is the weirdest premise ever. I don't think they even needed to go there because the zombies alone are scary enough. What I was going to say before is that he took a little bit of a twist on the zombie mythology. And look, to be fair, Dawn of the Dead in 2004, along with 28 Days Later and maybe Shaun of the Dead, kicked off the modern day zombie universe, like the popular good zombie movies that turned into The Walking Dead and a million other movies. The thing that was got me is that, you know, zombie movies have gone boring. And at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do with zombie movies. Once you did the fast zombies, there's not much more you can do. So I was like, what do you do differently if you're Zack Snyder and you really help create this modern zombie universe? What he does is he gives more of a story with the zombies. And in this case, you've got alpha zombies who are more like the White Walkers in Game of Thrones, where they are more like a vampiric type entity who also create more traditional zombies like the Whites in Game of Thrones. I thought it was cool that you had multi-layers of alpha and beta and lower class zombies, kind of like how some of the video games have done all the years, because you can't just have zombie as a bad guy.
Right, in Left 4 Dead, you had like the dude who explodes, you had the witch, you had like a bunch of different zombies.
Left 4 Dead, that's a bringing that back in.
I say it out loud every so often because I would really love for them to port it over to PlayStation 5, which they haven't yet, because I would play the shit out of it if it was on PS5.
Yeah, I'm not very good at first-person shooters, so I was not really much for that. I've enjoyed the you know, I'm playing Days Gone is what I've been playing lately, which is free on PlayStation Plus last month. And that was a cool game. So it's basically Sons of Anarchy meets Walking Dead, but there's hordes. So you literally could have 500 zombies coming at you. In this case, there's not 500 zombies. There's all of Las Vegas which has been infested. We're not going to tell you how that happened. But you know, there is Las Vegas is now a self-contained zombie isolation zone, and there is a tiger zombie, which is one of the coolest things ever. You basically get, you know, some guy, and again, we don't want to get into the plot because once you start poking holes in it, you can, you know, it turns a little bit into Swiss cheese. But this guy who owns one of the casinos hires Bautista from WWE fame to get a crew together, very Rick and Morty style. I'm in.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
I'm so into that episode now because of that. To get a crew together, and they get into Las Vegas. They have to break into the casino, turn the power on, break into the safe, and escape through with a helicopter with $250 million in cash. And that's the main plot of it. So it's like got to break into a zombie infested Las Vegas. And I don't really even need to get into much else. That alone was done well, and it's awesome. And just not missing that. Like if they had blown that, the movie would have sucked.
They absolutely would have sucked it really bad if that had blown it. You know, there's definitely like a thing too where if you look at the style of zombie movie, like a Romero zombie movie, you never actually find out where the zombies came from. Whereas like, you know, Dan O'Bannon, like Return of the Living Dead movie, it's definitely the government that puts them there. So this kind of meets you halfway between the two. And I think it's to the movie's benefit. We have an idea of where these zombies come from. And it gives a better understanding of why there is a certain like hierarchy of zombie in this movie. And the zombie tiger was fucking cool. Let's be real about this, everybody. The zombie tiger was awesome. And, you know, it's got a great cast in it. Omari Hardwick is in it. Theo Rossi. Speaking of Sons of Anarchy, you know, I can't breathe because of my allergies right now.
It's okay. I'll give you Sons of Anarchy.
Garrett Dillahunt, who I generally will watch him in any movie. I just enjoy him, especially on the Mindy show of all things. He was fantastic. So you got a great cast here. Tig Notaro pitch hitting for a cast member who got outed as a sex pest. And one of the things that I thought was really cool about this movie was that they actually reshot Tig Notaro's parts all on green screen. She never met the cast until they actually like did a press junket for this thing. And, you know, there's some parts of it where because she is because Tig Notaro's on a green screen and, you know, blasted into these scenes, there is like this weird little like haze over the character, Marianne Peters. And eventually you kind of like, you forget that it's there. At first it's like a little like, oh man, that's kind of standing out a little bit, but it's pretty good. It's ultimately what was best for the movie. And I think it really did help level up that movie a lot.
So I had no idea. There was someone else who got canceled and said some weird shit, did some weird shit that got pulled out of the movie, replaced him with Tig, who was incredible, possibly one of the best parts of the whole movie. Loved her as an actress, loved her as the helicopter pilot. But I did find there was a few disjointed spots where I was like, they basically break into the casino and she just goes straight to the roof. Like she just somehow magically, well, they had to. Like she couldn't be part of the group going up because she was green screen. So it makes sense. I didn't know she was green screen in the movie.
Yeah.
So when they literally break into the casino and somehow she magically teleports to the roof, I was like, how did she get up there? How did she clear all the floors and get up to the roof?
Well, I think in the casino, I mean, there wasn't as many zombies in the casino until like they turn all the lights on. However, I thought it was a happy accident because in every one of these movies, I'm like, why is the pilot here slugging it out with everyone? They need to go to the roof where the escape is, and because they're the only one who could fly the helicopter. So I didn't mind it. I thought it was a good happy accident that Tig went up to the roof.
I also, I don't know if you do this, but a lot of people complain the soft focus in the movie. There's a lot of soft, a lot of deep focus in the movie. A lot of that was to blur out the original actor who played the part, because I believe they couldn't just pixel him out of the scenes. They had to, they basically soft focused him out. So that's why, if you're wondering why the lens was all over the place, it was partially because the shot, you know, the other actor was still in some of those shots. But I thought, again, the cast was incredible. I thought the movie was really great. I thought the ending was wonky. Look, it was wonky. If you had 2.5 hours to get from point A to point B, I was kind of hoping they would have explained stuff. It was a little patchy towards the end. Some of the stuff, they made really smart characters look really dumb towards the end, and I wasn't happy about that. But I like where they got. Like I like how they got there. It's just it ended up making his daughter, Dave Bautista's daughter, like the bad guy in the end, because by proxy, not because of she, by story, but by everyone fucking hates her because she made everybody unhappy at the end.
Yeah, and you know what? That being said, up until that part, and then the part that happens immediately after it, I thought was a great way to end the movie. And then what happens after that, which is something I don't want to spoil for everyone, but what happens after the Camaro, we'll call it, if they should have done that after the credits, because they essentially did the thing where they had a great ending for it. They stuck the landing, but then what happens after the credits just happens after the end of the movie, and it just keeps going. So that's my one real critique with it. If they had just cut that part and then threw it after the credits to set up as a stinger, it would have made a lot more sense. But otherwise, you know what? In my brain, it ends at the Camaro.
But it's kind of a sad movie at the end. Like if you do it the way, and again, that's fine.
Yeah, but it's it's a zombie movie.
I know. Anyway, I thought Army of the Dead was great. I thought it was one of the best zombie movies in recent years, and definitely would recommend it to anybody, especially if you have Netflix. 2.5 hours blows by. Like it does not feel like 2.5 hours. It's not. You're not sitting there looking at your watch. I really enjoyed it. I just some of the weird choices they made towards the end, I was just frustrated with. There's one particular spot where a person is very popular in the movie. She it's the head scene where why didn't she just throw the head off the building?
Oh, I know. I mean, listen, it's a zombie movie. There's always that point in the end where not everyone is supposed to make it, and they kind of run out of steam with like how the people are going to die.
Yeah, but it ends well. Like they still get to where they need to go. It's just in 2.5 hours, you should be able to figure all that stuff out. Most zombie movies are an hour and a half.
Yeah, no, this is an epic.
It's an epic.
It is. And, again, I've definitely made my thoughts on a lot of Snyder's movies clear. However, I'm always a person who's going to put someone over when they do a great job. And Zack Snyder did a great job in this. And I'm very much looking forward to see what else he does in this universe. Because I think this is, from what our friend Matt said, this is like the first original thing he's done since Sucker Punch, because he's just been working on other projects like, all that Warner Brothers DC bullshit. So I'm psyched. I'm psyched to see what his next chapter is.
So just so you know, and I'm not going to spoil it for people, but this is the prequel to Dawn of the Dead. What happens at the end spreads the virus to the rest of the West Coast, which is how Dawn of the Dead begins.
Really?
Yes. And I believe there's going to be more that they're going to do either before or after Dawn. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, is it one of those things they didn't want to say it was the prequel to Dawn of the Dead until after it came out?
It's a surprise. I mean, you kind of think, I mean, you don't know when it takes place, but it clearly takes place before, because there isn't zombie outbreaks anywhere else but Las Vegas. And because it's a desert and there really is nothing around Las Vegas, you can keep it contained.
So are they just nixing the idea of the remake of Night of the Living Dead?
Well, the thing is, Zack Snyder never did Return of the Living Dead or any of those. His universe starts with Dawn. I know.
I just, in my brain, I just remember.
You can't think of it as George Romero's universe.
No. Tom Savini did one in 1990. I want to say a 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. Okay,
retcon
cool.
all that.
That's fine.
Retcon all that.
I'm overthinking it.
Army of the Dead. But I felt like Kingdom of the Dead would have been better because they did a really good job humanizing the zombies. I can't believe saying that, but they did. Like it was cool seeing like their world almost.
Yeah, shockingly human zombies.
Yeah, very, very humanized. Humanized. I'm on so much codeine right now.
And I have allergies.
And you have allergies. I think yes, that's where we're at. So the root canal.
Yeah.
How to get it done. It was turns out this tooth was dead or dying. So they went in and did it. I went to a fancy endotronic guy, endo, who had like the camera on my mouth, and I could see the reflection of what he was doing when he was using those little like toilet cleaners.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so gross. But that smell that hits you when they open up your cavity or
necrotic smell, like the necrotic smell of a dead part.
It's so weird.
It's
so
terrible.
Weird. And big thanks to Carlos for watching. He says the audio. Thank you for patching that up. Yes, we actually have real audio feeding into our computer this time instead of just the sound of the computer, because I finally figured out how to make that work. Thank you very much. We're getting there. It's only week 3 of the reboot of My Thai Happy Hour.
We didn't mean to do a reboot, but the world rebooted, so we kind of felt like we had to.
Reclamation Day.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Reclamation Day.
So excited.
It's coming.
I went to Monster Mania this weekend.
What was Monster Mania?
So Monster Mania is an awesome horror convention that's normally held in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Because of COVID, they ended up doing what they called their little outdoor shopping mall of horror thing. So they had a convention in Oaks, Pennsylvania at the PA Convention Center. It was outdoors on blacktop. There was tents everywhere. All the vendors were in tents. They had celebrities there like Tom Atkins from Night of the Creeps. They had Adrienne Barbeau from The Fog. They had Christy Swanson, the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer, was there. So my girlfriend and I went down to hang out and just, do a little shopping. I needed to get some new t-shirts, like this awesome Night of the Creeps t-shirt that I got from Rough Cut. Real cool stuff. And we were there for like 45 minutes because it was so fucking hot. It was 90 something degrees. We did one loop of the tents, bought some shit, and left. However, Monster Mania, shout out to Monster Mania. Great job doing a con outdoors and still getting people together, even, during all this stuff. Also, big shout out to them as well, because Pennsylvania, 2 days before, because it was a Saturday and Sunday convention, on the Friday, Pennsylvania was like, yeah, dog, no more masks. Don't worry about it. And they were like, no, put past this gate, you got to be wearing a mask. So people are still masked up for this convention, which I did really appreciate, even though it was outdoors.
Yeah, I would go if I knew.
We went on a lark because it's sold out.
I only know because former host of the show, whose name shall not be mentioned, usually vends there. Was he there?
I didn't see him.
Any famous people that were kind of funny to see there?
We did not go and see any of the famous people because the lines were too long and it was hot. 93 degrees is hot. 93 degrees on blacktop with direct sunlight over you is hot.
Yeah, which is why I didn't go to Punk Rock Flea Market, which was also outside in some sort of parking lot type.
I think it was happening at the same time.
No, that was last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before. But I did not. Punk Rock Flea Market, as if you look back in our archive, we have an amazing interview with Brutus the Barber Beefcake from Punk Rock Flea Market. Might be episode 13. I could be wrong. But that is always fun. I actually
that's a sign that was the day I probably should have quit drinking. That was a terrible interview.
That place. Well, I don't think you slept. I think you showed up drunk at my place at 9 a.m.
I was still real quick. Shout out to Rough Cut Fan Club. You could check them out on Instagram. They are related to some amazing podcasts like Cinepunks, and they make amazing horror t-shirts. I got one for the gate in honor of the conversation we had the other day. I'm going to wear at some point this weekend. I got this one, and I got another sweet They Live t-shirt, which I guess now having like 4 different John Carpenter t-shirts for movies that John Carpenter make, I can safely say John Carpenter is my favorite director.
Really?
I didn't know, but then like when I look down, it's like, well, I have like 2 different They Live t-shirts, and I have like this Fog t-shirt, and I have like this other t-shirt.
I think my favorite movie by him is In the Mouth of Madness.
It's a highly underrated movie.
That may be the movie I like the most of John Carpenter. But we want to talk about something that's going to make John cry.
Oh, shit.
We're going to make John cry. And at least then we can it makes up for the fact that it sounds like you're dying from your allergies.
Dying from my feelings.
Distant Lands Adventure Time, this weird sidebar to one of our favorite cartoons that I got to binge watch through the pandemic. The best things that happened to me and Gabe during the pandemic. Distant Lands is 4 almost full-length episodic I guess chapters of the Adventure Time universe. In the first one, they talked about BMO, who's the little cute little iMac type creature. Little robot. It's an iMac. It's a computer.
Yeah, it's a little
robot.
guy.
It's adorable. Then they did the phenomenal Princess Bubblegum and Marceline Obsidian. Yep. Now they do Together Again, the story of Finn and Jake and what happens after Adventure Time. This should have been the last, was supposed to be the last one. I think they might actually end funnier now, so it might actually be a positive note.
I
They
think
ended
so.
on this, last episode in Obsidian, they showed us an older Finn with a T-shirt that basically said like Jake R.I.P.
No, he had a chest piece tattoo.
Oh, it's a chest piece tattoo.
Oh, it was legit. I mean, he was just chilling out in his little towel without his little robot arm, and he had a chest piece tattoo and a full. He looked like a little hipster, and it was Jake among all these roses. It was a beautiful tattoo.
Well, this is the future. This is John reached out to me. Goes, does Jake die? And the fact is, in the first 5 minutes, they all die. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
So Jake is dead. Like, that's how the episode starts. Jake is dead, and Finn's on the
already dead.
Already dead.
Already dead.
So you don't see Jake die,
which is a good thing.
And I was like, mentally prepared. I was like, I love Adventure Time. Adventure Time is a very happy, special place for me in my heart. And God damn it, it's not the liquid death, it's tears. I relate a lot to Finn in a lot of ways. Saw a lot of myself in Finn as a character.
You remind me of Finn too. I'm definitely more of the Jake.
You are so the Jake in this relationship.
I'm so the Jake of the 100%. So when I die, I'll probably be young from like mesothelioma from doing the this room.
Probably.
I'm gonna take up a little bit. Look, they open up and it's Finn who died. So when you reached out to me, you said, "Does Jake die?" I'm like, well, maybe you should watch it because it does not go the way you think it does. Finn actually dies in a very simple way, and he goes into, and he's older. He's an older Finn, and he goes into what basically the whole story takes place in what a heaven type, a purgatory / heaven, multi levels of death world, or dead world.
It's heaven, it's hell, and it's purgatory in one delicious afterlife sandwich.
Yes, and the problem is Jake is in one tier of heaven, or whatever you want to call it, dead world, death world.
Yeah,
and Jake is on the 36th floor, and he can't.
50th.
No, Jake is on the 50th. Finn is on the 36th.
Yeah.
Wow, the fact I even know that on this much codeine,
you're doing great,
is amazing.
Proud of you.
The basic premise of the 45 minutes is Finn wants to get to Jake. They want to reunite in heaven. Yeah, which is just dark and sad and depressing any way you cut it. Like, it's just a sad premise. But we don't want to spoil stuff. This is all in the first 5 minutes of the show. Yeah, and it is what the story is. It's basically Finn trying to get to Jake. Jake isn't like in a Zen world on the 5th level. Like, it is like Zen and Buddha and all this stuff.
Yeah, he's transcended his body.
And there's a lot of weird stuff that they have to go through to get there. And it's basically the adventure of Finn getting to Jake, and then Finn and Jake having to overcome an old enemy. I'm not gonna say who, but that you might get very excited for. And it plays out a lot. And I'm gonna throw people for a loop here. One of my favorite shows and episodes of any show of all time is San Junipero from Black Mirror. Yeah. It is one of the most powerful episodes of TV I've ever seen. It's beyond grief. It's basically about people in a nursing home to help them get through late stage life and leading into death. They're allowed to go into augmented reality worlds or virtual reality worlds where they are in some cool city that doesn't really exist in the real world. They get to live their life as they were young, and someone finds their best friend, and in reality, they are actually old people who are dying. And when you die, when you get to the point, when you get to end life, you get a choice. You can die and go to wherever you go. We don't know where, but wherever you go, or you can live your rest of your life. Your memories, your feelings, your thought can live in San Junipero, this imaginary world where you can be your best life, your best age with your best friends. And we see one person who chooses, she wants to see her family. She wants to see her son or her husband if a heaven exists. Right. And the other friend wants to stay in San Junipero. At the end, in this amazing stinger with the best use of Belinda Carlisle's Heaven is a Place on Earth, they show that they both chose San Junipero and they're living together, and it's a wonderful friends thing. This is very much like that, except it's the imaginary city is some sort of dead world or a heaven or something. But the choice they make to live together, how they choose to do it, is so much like that. That's what made me happy. It has a happy ending. It's just a very strange. Adventure Time has always been a world where no matter what happens, things work out in the end. And that's been something that people have always complained about too. And it is a fair thing to complain about because sometimes it wraps up too easily and Finn never feels trouble. Like there's things that just, it always works on the end. And people said that sometimes that's not the best story to tell a child because, you know, if you just think that things will always work out, you know, stuff for adults, it's wonderful because it's escapism.
Yeah.
But if you're a younger audience, it was always something where it's like nothing, no matter how bad they fuck things up, they will always figure it out in the end, even if it just falls in place. This is one of the ones where like you can't fix death.
You know, I would agree and I would disagree with you a bit about the Finn doesn't feel the weight of everything because
I didn't say that.
No, but like
I didn't say the weight. He does feel the weight. He thinks he's the only savior of the universe sometimes.
Right, but by the end, he definitely felt differently. And by the end, like it wasn't working out. And by the end, like it didn't work out the way he planned it, so he just didn't play the game. In this specifically, you do see that because he says something very, very powerful at the end.
Oh, you're crying.
Oh, I can't.
This is rough.
It kicked me in the it kicked me in the dick of my feelings. That's, I mean, and I don't want to spoil it for people. So it's just, it's powerful. And it's something that like, I think after the last year, and you see the value of friendship even more. This one's tough. But it ends good. And, you know, I only went on like a 5-minute crying jag at the end of the episode, but it's a tough one. It's definitely one that I warn people about. Like, yo, this shit's going to wreck you because it will wreck you because this one is like all about kicking you in the dick of your feelings.
It is tough. Allison was unconsolable for the rest of the night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I didn't text you till after the crying jag stopped.
But it's like you had to watch it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want anything to be like, I was not going to be like, yeah, Jake's dead. Like I can't, like I didn't, there's never a right time to watch this episode. It is crazy. Adventure Time has never felt that way before. If anything, it is a different tone, but so were the other two episodes. The next one's going to be about Peppermint Butler. I'm curious to see how they go with that.
It's going to be like Peppermint Butler doing like some weird satanic wizard shit.
Yeah.
And they allude to it pretty hard in this episode, dude. It is going to, but I mean, that's HBO. That's the kind of storytelling that you could get away with on HBO because at the end of the day, it is an adult audience. So you can take these stories and in a lot of ways, finish the stories for a lot of characters and give very satisfying endings. Also, especially for Polly Lou Livingston, who plays Tree Trunks, who passed away. It was a very nice send-off for Tree Trunks. But like you can get away with certain things like, you know, addressing death that they're not going to get away with in Cartoon Network.
It was rough that all the people that they showed dead died in real life.
Yeah.
That was, and they have a tribute to them at the end, which was very touching. I didn't get as, I mean, look, I watched some pretty dark things. So it takes a lot. The only thing that messes me up is the first 5 minutes of Up.
Oh,
that's the only thing that
will cried once.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes of Up's the only thing that gets me every time, and maybe the Toy Story throwing away the toy scene, Toy Story 2. I don't really get I don't get as sympathetic, but especially since this does have an up, the ending does kind of go upbeat, even though it's kind of a little bit ambiguous. But I think I'm going with the San Junipero theory.
It does.
It's just, this is a crazy way to bring back that universe. You know what you said before, that it's adults watching this. What I've read a lot about with Adventure Time, much like Finn, who was like an 8 or 10-year-old who played Finn when the show started, they continued aging him in real life and in the show. Like, they continued aging him in real life. Of course they did. I'm on codeine. They aged him in the cartoon to match what he looked like in real life. Well, the audience also continued to age, and the quality of the story became more progressively more, I don't want to say adult, but aged up.
It did.
And that's why the show was progressively better and better until the very end. And I feel like this is HBO really trying to take off the handcuffs that I felt that Cartoon Network kind of had on it. And also kind of how they pigeonholed themselves a little bit with the show. I mean, they did a better, definitely the final long, the episodes at the end of Adventure Time, the show, when they were doing the whole Finn trying to find his mother thing,
Yeah.
was a lot darker.
Yeah.
I felt like almost that multi-part series, the Islands.
Yeah.
I feel like that almost could have been an episode of Distant Lands.
Oh, 100%.
And I feel like that's where they kind of wanted to go with it. And basically HBO Max gave them platform. I feel like it is finding a bigger audience now. Our friend of the show, Carlos, just wrote to us and basically said, "Hey, let the tears drop. I felt it too, man." And then he goes, he watched it with someone who's never seen an episode. And per his friend, that was heavy as a concept, as heavy as a concept as he's ever seen in a cartoon.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, it's just Adventure Time touching on death, true death. That is tough. But definitely worth watching. If you're a fan of Adventure Time, you really, I mean, there's no question you have to watch this. And
yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you watch the other two, I didn't love the BMO one. I thought that was a little too cutesy. But the last one, Obsidian, and this one, you can't have a better story. And you know, people are like, well, is this the nail in the coffin, so to speak, realistically for Adventure Time? I think there are still stories you can tell.
I definitely think so. I definitely think that there's a lot of interesting characters. And also, one cool thing that happened was a very fan favorite and favorite for me character that I thought they never really resolved what happened to them. Got like a great resolution in this. And I don't want to spoil who it is, but it's when you see it, you're like, oh my God, that's right. What happened to this person? I definitely think that there's a lot they could do in the world of Ooh, and I definitely think there's a lot of other characters or other like dimensional versions of Finn and Jake that they can explore. But as far as most of the characters, by the time the Peppermint Butler episode wraps up, everyone will have a definitive and they end where they're supposed to end. Quick little sidebar: the 3 things that made me cry the most that are animated. Iron Giant gave me a nervous breakdown. The first 5 minutes of Up still is just, you just kicked me in the dick of my feelings. And this definitely sent me reeling, but I'm on mood stabilizers now, y'all. So it didn't hurt me as bad, but I felt it. You know, it's a very
mood stabilizers don't kill feelings.
No, but it helped me get over the hump a little faster. That's why it was only a 5-minute crying jag after this episode. But yeah, I mean, it's very powerful when you address the thing right and you don't just go for the cheap pop with it. And I definitely think that the writers of Together Again, they landed the and did overall a great job with it. Definitely prepare yourself. Definitely, if you're going to watch it with your kids because they love Adventure Time, be warned, because that first 5 minutes when you find out Jake is dead is not going to go over too well with the kids.
See, it wasn't even Jake. It's when Finn dies in the first time. I was like, oh, they went there. I didn't even get time to feel Jake. Jake was already in heaven.
Yeah, but by that point, like Finn was like an old dude, like losing his shit, and I was like, okay, I accepted that. But like when you see the grade that says "Rip Jake" on it, I was like, what?
Yeah, that was a little hard. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
yes. So much codeine. So much codeine.
Punched you right in the nuts.
Anyway, on a completely different note, from one horror show to another horror show. No, I'm just kidding. That would have been a good transition after Army of Dead.
It would be.
The Money by Bosstones and Weezer both released new albums in the last couple weeks.
Yeah,
and I listened to them, and
I did
listened
too.
to them, and I just want to put it out there: the Money by Bosstones, just stop. Like, this is a PSA to Dickie Barrett.
No.
Look, the Dropkick Murphys have already taken over Boston. You've hit a point in, like, I understand progression. We've talked about progression in music before, but you do not go from being what was always a hardcore band with horns to what is 100% something you would hear in the dentist office while you're getting a root canal, because this is fucking adult contemporary music.
Hell no, dude.
This album, what's the name of it? When God Was Great or something?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Jesus.
I don't know if they went that way.
And maybe
I don't
they
know
did,
about
because
that.
it sounds like it.
It does not sound
Oh
like that.
my God, this album is so polished ska bullshit.
Is this the receipt for the Offspring review?
No,
is
not at all. I didn't know you were a Bosstones fan.
You know what? I'm not necessarily.
I mean, they're not that Irish, are they?
Well, I mean, they're from Boston. Everyone from Irish is Boston.
Everyone from Irish is Boston.
I can't breathe through one nostril. I'm doing my best. I have allergies. I totally disagree with you. I did what you said, though. I did go back and listen to
Don't Know How to Party.
Don't Know How to Party. And it's interesting because the Bosstones, they've been around for almost 40 years.
Yeah, and they had, before they became big with Don't Know How to Party from the Clueless soundtrack, or
Someday, I suppose.
From the Clueless soundtrack, but from that album, they had like 10 albums before that.
This is their 11th studio album. They didn't have that many albums before this.
No, they only had a couple albums before this. They took a lot. They haven't done much. And like, they were
still touring. They were still doing stuff.
They were making bad adult contemporary music.
It's not adult contemporary music. First off, I just want to say, whoever does the guitars for this band, it's not like jazz.
It's like jazz.
You're sassy. Cody's making you sassy.
So this album upset me so much.
I don't feel like it's that at all. You know, we talk about this a lot on the show where you have a legacy act still making music and they kind of go too far from the base. I think that the Mighty Bosstones from the very beginning until now have evolved their sound only so much that they're still making very consistent music that is very much in line and not gimmicky for what they've done in the past. Like, I've seen them recently and they do a great blend of everything. They really do take a good look at like traditional ska. They still do some of the old like heavier stuff that kind of sounds like, you know, like a metal guitar player playing in a ska band, whereas they get a little bit older and they evolve the sound only so much that they're still making records for their fan base, which is something I thought about it today a lot with this. And I definitely think there is a certain degree, and it's something I'm going to touch on when we talk about Weezer in a bit. It's like, who are you making these albums for? When you have you're at a certain point in your career, you're not going to really be gaining that many new fans or that much traction by trying to do something that is a stark contrast to what you've done in the past as a band. So the Mighty Bosstones album, I think, is solid from front to back. They do a great job making the guitars not sound like shitty ska guitars. And it's a good blend of the ska that they did. It's a good blend of, like, you know, keeping a
there is no rock in this album.
There is totally rock.
There is
album.
no rock. Kenny G is rock, then this is
you
rock.
You are being the sassy
this
guy.
This album is so awful. I am so perplexed. Like, look, I get it. I think people mature, but this is not, you're not playing to your base here.
They're totally playing to their base.
If your base is bad, ska fans, fucking ska fans.
Wow, you hate ska.
Fuck ska.
You hate ska with a fire 1,000 burning suns.
Fuck ska. Ska is so bad. Ska is maybe the worst. It's like the bottom feeder of music. It is like second. It's like fucking like oh no. I always put it as like white supremacist and then like ska.
Sure,
so I will put it out there. I hate ska.
Crazy statement.
Oh yeah, I meant more like skinhead bands, not necessarily what you know what I mean. But no, I mean it. I hate ska that much.
Wow.
I hate Propaganda. Ska isn't cool, you stupid fuck. I stand by Propaganda for making that song. And I believe in it. I hate ska. I love the Bosstones because they were basically a hardcore band masquerading as a ska band.
They haven't been that since 1993.
Since Don't Know How to Party, which was a great album. And then, look,
which is almost 30 years
and then
ago.
There was the impression that I get, which was kind of there. But then
almost 30 years ago.
The thing about the Bosstones was that, and I don't know if you ever went to one of their shows back in the day, but they were the most violent shows ever.
I mean, by the time I saw them in like the mid 2000s, they certainly weren't.
In the 90s, the Bosstones, it was terrifying to see the Bosstones. Really, the most violent shows I've ever been to are the ones that shouldn't have been that violent, which was like the Bosstones and Clutch and Avail. Those are like the three most violent crowds I've ever seen at shows. And it's
Avail crowd was pretty tough, man.
Avail crowds, whew. But the Bosstone crowds were nothing to ignore. But they played aggressive music with horns. It was like Dog Eat Dog. Dog Eat Dog's great. Like, I hated when people were like, "Oh, Dog Eat Dog has a horn. They're ska," even though technically that's not a horn; it's a sax, which is a woodwind. Huh? Right there, I pulled it out.
He's blowing minds, y'all. He's not wrong.
I'm so high right now on codeine. But the look, it's ska. I understand people who love the old ska, the traditional ska, the Jamaican ska. Like, but once white people took it and turned it into this bullshit, I think it just died and it ate it. And anything past the Toasters, and I'll only give the Toasters props because they saved Turtleback Zoo. Like, that's the only reason they get any props, because the Toasters single-handedly saved Turtleback Zoo in 1996 or 1995. But other than that, fuck ska. This is a bad album. This is not a good album. This is cheeseball schlock. Like, it is overproduced horns. It is Dickie Barrett thinking he can sing, he's basically like a second-rate Freddie Madball. And I am not, like, I can't recommend this to anybody unless you really like ska, and then you're not my friend.
Wow. I highly recommend this album. I think it's a solid record from front to back. I think if you're a fan of the Bosstones, this is right up your alley, and I think you're going to continue to be a fan of the Mighty Mighty Bosstones. George,
I just think they don't know how to party.
Wow,
because yep.
Wow, yeah. I mean,
someday
I
suppose they will suck. Because that is this. What the fuck is the name of the album too? When God Was Great.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I don't even know. Like, I got checked. Voice Sets Fire did this to us a while back. They put out some like weird religious overtones in their music. Everybody thought they went all Jesus-y, but I think they just were like fucking with people. And this one, I can't quite figure it out.
Yeah, I've kind of made a conscious decision. I just
not
fucking
even
want
touch
to know.
that.
I don't. I didn't even look it up. I just said fuck it.
But you saw the title and you were like,
and I was like,
is
this a Jesus record? Like, what's going on, guys? But I don't have it in me to look.
I mean,
I don't fucking
it's
care.
as Jesus-y as a Kenny G album.
It is nothing like a Kenny G album.
It's terrible.
It is not terrible.
I'm a fine Weezer. Van Weezer. What's this one called?
It's called Van Weezer.
All right, look, people know my thoughts on Weezer. Like,
Weezer sucks.
Weezer exists. They have some great songs.
Yes.
They have a really good greatest hits album in there. Maybe even a 1.5. But Weezer has this is like their third album since the pandemic started, maybe fourth.
So yeah, they were supposed to do a tour with Green Day and Fall Out Boy. That got canceled.
Yeah,
so,
that's not what I asked.
No, I'm getting
Hella Mega or something.
You are.
I'm
ornery.
Fire.
You are on fire right now.
Horns.
Yeah. So they had an album coming out that they were going to tour for with the Hella Mega tour, and because that, and then they were going to follow it up with Van Weezer, but then the tour got canceled. They made some like orchestral acoustic bullshit to talk about like feelings and feeling isolated in the pandemic. And
they also did the covers album.
The covers album I think came before that.
Teal, and then they had like another one.
Weezer keeps putting out albums.
They do. He won't stop.
He won't stop. Maybe he should. So this album comes out. It's Van Weezer, and the promise of this album is it's going to be like Weezer just like kicking ass and shredding again. And then like they do a thing, and I'm going to harken back to my Offspring review, where the first single doesn't really sound anything like the rest of the record. And that's actually what got me thinking of the first track is called Hero, and it was written by Rivers Cuomo and like 5 other people. Like a lot of pop music these days is written almost by committee in 5 or 6 different producers. This track was written by several different people, and it doesn't really sound anything like the entire rest of the record. It sounds like when Weezer first, I think around the White Album it was, they started making like real pop music that was from that time period, but it didn't really sound like Weezer anymore. And this is kind of like the same thing.
Yes.
Because from the second track on, it actually sounds like a Weezer record. And that's to the point I was making before. Like, who are you making these records for? Like, you're really at this point not going to gain any traction or new fans.
Oh, Rivers Cuomo makes these albums for himself. I mean, let's be very clear. He's not making them for anyone else. He's even like his fans.
I agree. However, I'm just talking about in general, when you hear legacy acts do stuff like this, where it's like, they put out these singles and you're just like, but it doesn't actually sound like the band anymore. Like, why are you calling it the band? And then the album doesn't sound anything like it. The album actually sounds like the band. Like, it's a very weird thing.
Be very clear right here. This album sounds like a Foo Fighters album, which means it's garbage. Like, it sounds like a Foo Fighters album. I was listening to it, I'm like, oh, this is vanilla as vanilla gets.
It does not have any heart to it.
Nope.
And that's the thing. Like, I love, and it's something that someone called me out on like a few years back. I was like, oh man, I love Weezer. And like, really, it was like the last Weezer record that you enjoyed. I was like, Pinkerton. So I don't love Weezer. I like those 2 Weezer records, and I like a lot of the B-sides. But I think that they're one of the bands that when they came back, it's like they resurrected the band, but you didn't get the full job on the resurrection. It just, it came back like...
I like the Hash Pipe album. The Green album was okay.
It was okay. And it
but
was
at least
okay.
It rocked. At least it rocked. And Maladroit too. There was some out there where when he tried to make the perfect rock metal album, that was better than when he's tried to make the best pop album.
But it's still just, and I still maintain it's the lack of Matt Sharp in the band. Like, it's this heart that's missing from the Monster. And every album that they do, they get like further and further away from, what made people fall in love with the band to begin with. But that being said, like, I fell in love with the band in like 1996 we're a long way from 1996, and there are many albums away from 1996. I think that the closest that they've come to really sounding like themselves again was the Teal album when they were doing a bunch of covers.
Yep. I feel that Weezer, that Saturday Night Live clip that we played on an episode and then it got banned from like YouTube, that
because we were naughty.
Perfectly sums up Weezer. Like nobody actually likes Weezer anymore.
No.
And the problem is I don't think even Rivers Cuomo likes Weezer. It's just his platform to get he treats music like a mathematical equation. Like if he like does enough stuff, he can make it's like Frankenstein's monster.
It is.
And that's how he is a songwriter. And that does not necessarily make great music. Again, it just makes, bad Foo Fighter-esque albums, which, the most average band in the world who's getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, how many rock halls we've covered over the years, like, we're not surprised by anything that happens anymore. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend this album. I mean, if you are and I'm doing air quotes here for those listening in the podcast there, a fan of Weezer, then this is right up your alley. If you are a person who's inclined to really just liking the Blue album, Pinkerton, a bunch of other singles, you can skip this one.
Yeah. Gabe just returned to the room. And are you leaving the room or are you coming to say hi? You just came to say hi? Yeah, it's fine.
Hey, buddy.
You can just chill out. As long as you don't have shoes on and you're banging around, that's okay. Because we love you. You're the best, right? You want to tell anybody anything? What was your favorite thing you watched this week? Rescue Bot Academy. So, do you know what the Rescue Bot Academy are? Do you know what Rescue Bots are?
It's the Transformers.
Transformers. I will tell you this. Transformers are back for kids. They're called the Rescue Bots.
Right.
And they have 1 million toys. The toys are super easy to transform.
I love that.
2 twists and you're done. That's his favorite thing in the world right now. And I'm so pleased as punch to see that my son loves the toys from my youth. And I haven't even tried.
Yeah.
Haven't even tried. G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, that's like in a couple weeks.
What?
Did you know that?
I didn't, because they did such a poor job of promoting it.
Well, they kept. Well, it's
okay.
All right, go play with your Rescue Bots, buddy.
Okay.
You want to show them to Uncle Ham?
I would love to see your Rescue
You'll
Bots.
go see him before we come upstairs.
I will.
Okay?
We're gonna wrap up in a few minutes. I'm gonna come upstairs. We're gonna see your Rescue Bots. How's that sound?
But G.I. Joe Snake Eyes is coming. They just dropped a new trailer for it. Please check it out. It looks awesome.
I did check it out, and they have Samara Weaving from Ready or Not as Scarlet.
Yeah, which is great.
And I'm like, how do you have like all these people and not tell anybody about it?
Yeah, well, what happened was it was supposed to come out. They had pushed it to like September, November or something, and then they bumped it back to July or June. I don't know, but it's coming soon. I'm really excited for it because it should be awesome. And now, look, we're gonna hit that weird spot right now where we're not gonna be. We're still not going to movies yet.
Yeah, we're not,
because New Jersey's just not there yet. But it's now. Things are now only going to movies. So we are going to be late reviewing. We're going to be reviewing stuff later. So you guys just do not expect us to be breaking them like we used to, because we got to figure out this world. I'm just not excited to go to movie theaters yet.
Well, in Jersey, Murphy was like, yeah, no more masks.
Yeah. Well, but so did the government. So I can't fault him for.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that like in Jersey, the deal doesn't come down like it did for Pennsylvania. And I'm not going to go sit in a movie theater with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah. Not yet, at least. So movies might be weird. We might be like next week. We might pick one of our the cool video on demand horror movies that just popped out. Then there was another funny one that came out. Lacey's Story by Stephen King comes.
Yeah,
that
I'm psyched soon for that.
Curious to see how that
Love
is.
Julianne
and
Moore.
I think there's even some more music. Lots of good music coming out.
Lots of great music.
We'll have more stuff there. But MODOK. Gabe, I watched that with Gabe. He was like, just did not understand what he was watching.
Yeah,
like he was weirded out. MODOK. 5th string villain in the Marvel Universe, part of AIM, which has never been bothered to be introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet.
Yeah.
He's got a big head.
Got a really big head, dude.
I don't know what exactly his gimmick is, but he now has his own show on Hulu. It's animated, but get this, and I didn't know this going into it, but I felt it. And at the end, I saw Seth Green's name.
Oh, yeah.
It is Robot Chicken. This is the Robot Chicken crew. It's done in Robot Chicken animation style, but modernized because Robot Chicken's like 20 years ago.
It's Robot Chicken with a massive budget.
Yeah, massive budget and Marvel behind it. And
yeah.
MODOK, can you tell us a little bit about MODOK?
So MODOK is an egomaniacal supervillain with a really big head and a really little body, and he struggles to maintain control of his evil organization's demanding family. So MODOK was originally a Captain America villain, who is, you know, this dude in like a floating chair with like laser blasts from his head. Imagine like Dr. Octopus, if Dr. Octopus had been like attached to like a lazy boy or a Barker Lounger.
He reminds me more. No, he reminds me more of Krang from Turtles. If you had cut the head off, like cut Krang's head off, and just like he just kept the waist down. It's weird.
And it's MODOK, who's played by Patton Oswalt, dealing with juggling his family and trying to keep AIM afloat in a time where AIM is in the middle of a hostile takeover. And it's comedy. Not all the jokes land, but it's, you know, it's a pretty, you know, easy to watch show. Every episode's like 20 minutes ish. It goes by pretty quickly. There's a lot of like in jokes to the Marvel universe in here, but it has no real bearing over the Marvel universe at all because it's just like a little show for Hulu. And it takes. Do you watch to the end?
I've not made all the way to the end, but I know the X-Men are involved a little bit throughout it.
A little bit. It takes a dark turn. Like, it takes a turn that you don't think a show like this is going to take, and you're kind of like left wondering, like, why the fuck did they do that?
Yeah, I feel like this is Seth Green basically dying to do something for Marvel, so they give him MODOK. And they say they can't even put on Disney Plus because it's mature, even though it's not really R. It's not like Invincible.
So they bleep out the F word, but they can say shit a whole lot.
Yeah, they do that for Rick and Morty too.
Which I think is like, if you are already at shit, asshole, and dickhead, I mean, he's out of the room, hopefully. But anyway, if you're there, why not just say the F word? Like you're gonna bleep the F word at like that hour of the night on cable. Come on.
And it's weird because
it's TVMA.
It's weird because Solar Opposites says the F word. Rick and Morty does on some things. Like they don't do it on HBO Max, but they do it on Hulu. Like it's weird how, or Hulu, maybe it's vice versa.
Yeah,
it's very. I think it's strange, but Solar Opposites definitely drops the F bomb.
Oh, and Rick and Morty's coming back.
Rick and Morty in June. Did you see the?
I did.
The Beastie Boys sabotage.
Like,
just for them to get the rights to be able to include sabotage in a commercial,
they must be fans.
They have to be because they don't do that. They don't allow that.
No,
to license sabotage. And you just don't see it. You don't see the Beastie Boys in commercials. That's a big no. And for them to be able to do that is awesome. I also went out, complete sidebar. I went and I saw the next thing after Rick and Morty was actually the Beastie Boys on Saturday Night Live. I'd never seen the episode where the Beastie Boys start doing sabotage and Elvis Costello crashes and makes them do radio.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yes, so
never
cool.
seen that.
It's so cool. Go find it. It is, just look up. It's from the like the 20th anniversary of Saturday Night Live, and it is so funny because I believe that is what happened to Elvis Costello originally in '77, where he was going to do. They wanted him to do Less Than Zero, and he's like, "No, that's a radical song. I shouldn't be doing that. Nobody will get it." And so he stopped mid-song and started doing radio, and then he was banned forever
until he wasn't.
Until this,
yeah.
But that hilarious. I like MODOK. I kind of wish MODOK was more in the real Marvel. Like, I don't know. This is such a standalone thing. Like, again, even the animation, it's not cartoon. It is very much almost like a stop motion. It's probably CG, but it feels like Robot Chicken. And it is the Robot Chicken type of humor where it doesn't all land, but when it lands, it's great.
When it lands, it's fucking great. And it takes a turn. Such a weird turn.
And if you don't know who MODOK is and you're kind of a Marvel fan based on the cinematic universe, you might not like this. I don't recommend this to every person.
No.
I think this is really more for nerdier comic fans who might know who he is.
It's a deep cut Marvel.
And it also is even play on MODOK. Like, MODOK's not a comedy figure in the comic books either.
Not really, no. But Patton Oswalt is great.
So I think they just really got like, here, Seth, take MODOK. You can have MODOK. We're never going to use MODOK. And that's where we ended up. So I recommend it. It's not for everybody, but it is fun, and they're short. They're like a half-hour long episodes, maybe 20 minutes. So
it's easy to watch. I mean, it's only 10 episodes.
So much awesome. Another great episode. Anything else that we missed?
Not really, man. I'm just waiting for I thought I was gonna be safe in my house with my allergies, but the killer was inside all along. I've just been dying. Doing my best.
And you do okay with Sally's cats, right?
Yeah, it's not your cats.
It's not my cats.
No. I do. The cats don't bother me. It's just
Has it
nature.
turned out that you actually have never been allergic to cats?
Oh no, I was definitely allergic to cats when I was younger. I think I just got older and things changed. But no,
that happens.
but not nature. Nature is actively trying to kill me.
Gabe's had it bad.
Holland.
Gabe's on the Xanax. No,
No, he's not on the
Zyrtec. Zyrtec. I'm on the Xanax. Zyrtec. And another great episode of My Thai Happy Hour.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week. Again, lots of fun stuff to talk about. And as always, let us know in the comments. We appreciate all the support from everybody. We try to watch stuff that would interest all of you and mix it up as much as we can. We're trying to do more music. Luckily, there is a lot more music. We got new Rise Against albums. We got new AFIs coming out. We got a lot of fun stuff coming out. War has an acoustic album EP coming out, I think next week or today or something.
Interesting.
So lots and lots of fun stuff. Take us out. Not take us out. How do kids reach you?
You can find me on Instagram at John McGuire RPG, on Twitter at John McGuire RPG, although I'm posting actually more on Instagram and stuff. I'm around. You can that's where to find me. George, where can kids find you?
People can find me at GLK Creative on the Instagram, GLK Creative on the Twitter, where I am just doing way too much tech stuff. I mean, I am like everywhere now.
You are the Matrix.
It's crazy. You can reach me on Facebook. You can reach me at Cult of George. Did I say that one already?
I don't know.
All the meds are kicking in right now.
Yeah, they are.
My tooth stopped hurting.
It's okay.
But now I'm like, it's like going home is tough.
Thank God you don't have to drive anywhere.
My Thai Happy Hour has an Instagram.
We do.
I just have to photograph more tiki mugs, and that's tough when I now have the camera. Like, if I move the camera from here now, then I have to remember where I put it, and then it like makes it hard to photograph the tiki mug. So I got to figure that out.
You will. You're the guy.
And rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes.
We're on all the platforms.
We are.
We have like 1,000 subscribers or something like that. Huge bump since we got on YouTube. We appreciate it. All like 16 of you who may have been watching and engaging. But we are going to keep this going. We will not stop until we die.
Pretty much.
Of mesothelioma in like 14 years.
Yeah, well, you play the game of Acestus and you either win or you die.
I just picture you coming to my grave. I'll just say like George. And
George.
then you like
16 people already seen me cry once in this episode.
I know.
Don't do it.
I know. I'm gonna outlive you. No, I might not. I don't know. It depends. I got a new Vespa.
I saw that.
That was very nice. That was my fun thing of the week. All right, take us out before I just keep babbling.
Everybody remember, be nice. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated. Eat some delicious barbecue for the Memorial Day weekend. Aloha.
And take your Zyrtec.
And take your Zyrtec. Yeah, no, this is just nature trying to gank me.